It's good, and the women shoot the men, you know, and he's very understanding. So, yeah.
Right, some,
Yeah.
The rule is that when you think about it, so the rule is this. If it's in the sanctuary, then you wear the kippah because the Torah is strict. I was gonna say. If it's outside, then the only people that wear kippah are those who are making a lesson, which you know, only the rabbi. It wants to make a room, it wants to look like a blessing over the line, or somehow men has to wear the kippah. They don't listen. So actually, most of the weddings do. I do. We don't hand out people. I mean, I don't actually go listen. No, but that's. We've actually been talking here about like our kippah policy, whether we should change it or how long. More and more people are wearing kippah, there's more and more children that are not looking at it. And so, you know, there's issues. I mean, the basic around the Jewish law is you wear it if you're in the presence of the Torah, wear it if you're stepping any kind of Jewish statement text, including Kabbalat. You wear it because it is presumed that when wants to go there, so even if they're not under it's part of the case. Well, that's the right thing to do. I mean, the extension of the fence around the home, because you push things out a little bit. Is that if you don't have to wear them in the sanctuary? I mean, you have to wear them in the sanctuary, but you might as well put them in when comments. Yes, right. So that's one of those questions: is what do you do for the? What do you do about kids in Hebrew school? So my view is that, I mean, sure, I mean, if they're learning modern Hebrew, something they don't have to, but if they're going to learn, certainly they're going to learn anything Jewish in terms of not just hoping learn some Jewish. They're learning any kind of religious, they should be. But then they can get off the history. No, wrong. I also want to ask you, I think you're there. Based on I'll shorten the service. We just. No, I don't think so. I can. Want to bring in a couple? I'm going to be in my office. Thanks for this. Yes. Yeah, that's one of the things. And I didn't. Oh, that's good. That's good. Moving forward.
That's great.
Shabbat shalom. Wow. So I want to ask everyone who's come in from far away and from close by to settle into and enter into the Shabbat of wonderful celebration of a family and friends, and of Gabe joining his brothers in becoming full adults within the family. And so let's step into Shabbat, leaving behind some of the craziness and the hustle and bustle of the week, and enter into Shabbat with a feeling of enormous gratitude for the wonder of the moment that we are in. I'd like to begin the service with Shalom Aleichem on page 5. I know for those who are used to the Sim Shalom, we're still getting into the page numbers of the Lev Shalom, and I want to share a Hasidic neo-Kabbalist teaching of Shalom Aleichem, and it goes like this. So there's a Hasidic teaching that says that the 4 stanzas of Shalom Aleichem are mirroring the process of parenting. For in the act, especially on Shabbat, of a couple in love, an energy goes out from them to meet with the Shekhinah and goes out to the higher realms. And in the first stanza of Shalom Aleichem, the energy that goes out from a couple who come together in love, emotionally, spiritually, and physically, that a Shalom Aleichem, a peace energy goes out to God's presence. And carried within that energy of Shalom Aleichem is the second stanza of Boachem L'Shalom, which is whether they know it or not, that energy of peace is also a beckoning. Boachem L'Shalom means come in peace, is a beckoning of the soul. They may not even be aware that they're producing this energy, but it is a beckoning of a soul to come into their lives and into their family and be born through that womb, or be born into that family in the way a soul can enter a family. And then Barchuni L'Shalom is the bar mitzvah, or the bar mitzvah or the brit mitzvah, because it's an acknowledgement that as your children get older and become adults themselves, they then bless you. So Barchuni l'shalom means bless me in peace. So shalom aleichem, this shalom energy that goes out, boachem l'shalom, I'm summoning a soul to come into our care and our family. Barchuni l'shalom, now you are of an age where you're a blessing to me. My dad would say that's things like teaching me how to run my antivirus software, putting toner in the printer, but it's also things that are more personal and spiritual. You become a blessing to me. And Seitchem l'shalom is saying, go in peace. It's when the adult child is, you're releasing them into the universe, going to college, going forth to make a life themselves. So when we sing it, maybe we'll think about the beauty of this family, of now having their third son, somewhere around Barchuni l'shalom, and some already in the Seitchem l'shalom category. Shalom aleichem, malachei hasharet, malachei elyon, bimelech, malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Boachem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon, mimelech, malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Barchuni l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon, mimelech, malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Seitchem l'shalom, malachei hashalom, malachei elyon, mimelech, malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. We prepare with the piyut on page 10 to lead us into the Kabbalat Shabbat service. We're at Yedid Nefesh on that page. Let's do the first and last verses. Yedid Nefesh, Av harachaman, mishoch avdach, eritzonah, yaharutz avdach, kemo ayah, Yishtachaveh mul hadarach, ki eravo yedidutach, mino vetzuf vechol ta'am, higalena ufros chaviv, alayet sukat shel hamah, Ta'ir eret mikvodach, nagila v'nismecha bach, maher ahuv kiva mohed, b'chaneni ki me'olam. Yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da da da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da da da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da, yada da 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 da. Page 11, as we enter L'chon Ranana, making our lips move with words and sounds of gratitude. This was the Pilgrim Psalm arriving at the Holy City. One would say this psalm, and today, starting in the Middle Ages, we would say this psalm entering into the holy space of Shabbat. So if there's anything you're carrying from the week, any concerns about the food or about travel or about people's comfort or about any chores that didn't get done from the week or worries you have about people, I ask you to place these down on the ground, sort of let your baggage fall to the ground so that you can be free and enter into the space with just a spirit of gratitude. The end of the psalm, we'll be singing the final lines that say, God said, you chase away my spirit when you complain. So we enter without the burden of the weekly concerns And then we say everything that will happen this Shabbat is meant to be. So if there's a mistake at the Torah portion, if the rabbi calls out a wrong page number, if someone didn't make it because they got the address wrong, they went to another Ann Arbor, another Beth Israel. It was all meant to be. That person was meant to be going to that Beth Israel instead of this one. The rabbi was meant to call out that wrong page number. Any mistake is not a mistake. So as we enter, there's no place for this. Life is too good to find anything falling short for the next 24 hours. So sing with me. We continue silently till the end of the psalm. Arba'im shana akud bedor ba'omar am tohe levavhem v'hem lo yadu derachai sher nishpati v'yapi im yavon el menuchati. Page 13. Shirul Adonai Shir Chadash Shirul Adonai Kol Haaretz Shirul Adonai Baruch Shemo Basru Miyom Liyom Yeshuato Safru Vagoyim Kevodo Bechol Ha'amim Niflotav Ki Gadol Adonai Hulal Me'od Norahu Akol Elohim. We continue silently. Page 14. Yismechu hashamayim, hashamayim, yismechu hashamayim, hashamayim, yismechu hashamayim, v'tahagel haaretz. Yehiram hayam, yehiram hayam, yehiram hayam, umelo. Yehiram hayam, yehiram hayam, yehiram hayam, umelo. Adonai kiva lishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel b'tzedek, v'amin be'emunato. The Psalms the Kabbalists put in for our concentration continue on page 15 and go forward. So for those who want to daven a traditional service, I ask you to keep going as would be done silently at this time. But I'm going to take you for others who, instead of doing those, want to follow a different route. We will be at Lachadodeh shortly on page 23, but instead I want to share a modern poem instead of an ancient poem. And it's a poem I've shared before, coming from I've shared it before with people who are here today, coming from a family of 3 sons, in which I'm also the Ben Zikunim, I'm also the youngest. This poem always spoke to me, and so I'd like to share it at this time. It's by Yehuda Amichai, and I'm going to share some of it in Hebrew to begin, and then I will read the English. Kmo Rav Chovel, Asher Acha Ha'arucha, Achagigitit Mar'eh L'Orcha Et Chadar HaMechonot, Ba'amaki Ha'oniyah. Nashim Yafot darshu zot, v'hu morid otam b'madrigot habarzel, hoteach dilatot bin kishot, matechet v'sogran shuv, v'hem omdim umit pa'alim mikol hamavrik v'hamistovev
והעולה והיורד. כן אני מראה לאורחי את חדר השינה של ילדיי. פותח דלת וסוגר אותה בשקט, ואנחנו שומעים 3 מיני נשימה בקצבים שונים בחדר הקטן, שהוא אינסוף, ואור כחכל וקטן מאיר מעל למשקוף. Like a ship's captain who after the dinner party shows his guests the engine room in the bowels of the ship because the beautiful people requested it. And he takes them down the iron steps, opens doors with a clang and closes them, and they stand marveling, actually mitpalalim, praying. They stand marveling at all the shining and the spinning and the going up and down. In this way, I show my guests my children's bedroom, open the door and close it quietly, and we hear 3 sorts of breathing in different rhythms in the small room, which is Ein Sof, which is without limit. And a faint bluish light shines above the door. That takes us to Lachadodi on page 23. Lechadodi likra kala pene Shabbat nekabela shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad yishmianu el hamyuchad Adonai echad uhu shemo echad b'shem utiferet v'litila lechadodi likra kala Pene Shabbat nekabela likrat Shabbat lechu v'nehelcha ki mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nehesuha sof maaseh v'machshava tefila. Mikdash melech melucha hakumitzei mitocha hafecha harav lach shevet behem mekabacha v'hu yachamol alayichem la lechadodi likra kahala pene Shabbat nekabela hitna ari me'afar kuhumi livshi bigdei tifartecha hami ayad ben Yishai be'heit halach mikor va'el nafshi ge'ala lechadodi likra kahala Pene Shabbat nekabela hitoreri kiva ore kumi ori uri shir daberi kavod Adonai Allah yiknigla. Pene Shabbat nekabela matlo tevoshi v'lo tikahami matishtochachi umahatehemi ba'yefesu aniyehami v'nivneta ir altila lechadodi likra kahala Pene Shabbat nekabela v'hayulim shisa Shosa yiferaku kohol mevala yifyasisa lai Elohai yifkisos katan ahakahala lechadodi likra kahala Pene Shabbat nekabela yaminus mo'oti prohoti liet Adonai ta'aritzi al yadish behem parzi v'nismecha v'nagila. Please rise. Let's welcome God's presence of Shabbat. Likra kahala Pene Shabbat nekabela boi v'shalom atere b'halaha gam v'simcha ובצהלתו אמונה, aham segula boicha, boicha lehen adoti, Shabbat Shalom. Page 27 for the Shabbat Psalm. Mizmor shir, shir li'om haShabbat. Mizmor shir, shir li'om haShabbat. Tov lehodot la'Adonai, ulezamer l'shimcha elyon, lehagid ba'boker chastecha, Be'emunatcha balelot, Mizmor shir, shir li'om haShabbat. Mizmor shir, shir li'om haShabbat. Again, we continue silently to the end of the Psalm 27 to 28. Page 28. Tzadik tamar yifrach, ke'erez balvanon yiskeh shetulim, beveit Adonai, bechatzrot Eloheinu yafrihu. Oh, Dinuvun b'seva, Dishenim v'ra'ananim, Hihu lehagid, Yashar Adonai, Tzuri, Elohav latabo. Those final words of the psalm always take on extra resonance during a bar mitzvah weekend like this, because although we can see, as in the words of the psalm, those who are planted in the courts of God grow tall and strong in the values of our tradition, sometimes strong physically as well, and tall physically, but also hidden there's the message that those who are older are also growing. We are just growing with new kinds of skills and new kinds of creativity that in some ways are easily missed during the process of parenting because we're so busy. We just really, really are. And that maybe Shabbat is a time, and maybe even this weekend is a time to think of the time of parenting as also a time of growth that's visible, but also amazing growth that sometimes maybe one needs to help connecting to in introspection and prayer. That takes us to the final line of the Psalms before the Mourner's Kaddish. We're on page 29. Adonai malach ge'ud lavesh lavesh Adonai osita zahon. Edotecha nimnu me'od leveitcha nava kodesh Adonai le'orech yamim. The first of our two Mourner's Kaddishes is on page 30. Beth Israel congregation remembers, among others, on this Shabbat, Joseph Aaron, Israel Abramovitz, Mark M. Dursky, Isidore Bernstein, Rose Binder, Pauline Brotman, George Chudikoff, Charles Corin, Marjorie Dallas, Carol Danowitz, Hilda Diogenes, Hetty Dombey, Raymond Echt, Walter Field, Hilda Fligiel, Jania Gaffney, Ruth Ginsburg, Morton Goldberg, Elmer Goldman, Bertha Goldstein, Mildred Greenlee, Freda Gert, Herman Haftel, Adeline Hegge, Isidore Helfand, Lillian Henry, Jacob Kamensky, Leah Kirshner, Sarah Lansky, Leona Leon, here on the very first yard site, Joan Levitsky, Harry Liberstein, Jacob Lipnick, Harry Maslow, Lillian Meyerowitz, Marilyn Niss, Isaac Norwich, Luba Portnoff, Ann Primus, Milt Rockman, Dora Rosenblum, Molly Rossin, Judah Leonard Roth, Harry Schlossman, Molly Schumann, Henry Schuyler, Harry Schwartz, Bessie Sears, Beatrice Smolker, Sidney Sperber, Bertha Stein, Edward Tankenow, Richard Tolson, Al Waxer, Ida Werbel, Joseph Wiesenthal, and Oscar Zuckerman. As we continue to say Kaddish for Gary Joseph Ullman, Paul Ernest Phillips, Leslie Garber Matthews, Raisa Levinskaya, Alice Cohen, Toby Barban Rothaus, Vivian Perlstein, Marty Lindenauer, Bonnie Rosenberg, Harleen Appelman, Lionel Finkelstein, Sildel Popinski, David Stein, Harvey Katz, Martin Warshaw, Gidon Hoffer, Lois Kluger, Beverly Bennett, Edward Elias, and joining us starting this day, Shulamit Weissman. For those reciting, please stand and recite with me on page 30. Yit Gadal, V'yit Kadash, Shmei Rabbah, V'alma Divra Kirute, V'yamlich Machute, V'chayechon Uvyomechon, Uv'chayedecho Beit Yisrael, V'agala Uvizman Kari V'imeru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Ulamei Almayah. Yibarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei d'kudesha richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'imromah Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. And we all rise to join them. We're on page 39A for the beginning of the second half of the service, the Ma'ariv. Baruchu et Adonai hamevora. Baruch Adonai hamvorach leolam v'ahed. We may be seated. Baruch Adonai hamvorach. Umavir yom umevi laila, mabdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai sod shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamidim lo chalenu leolam va'ed, Baruch ata Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael, amcha ahavta, Torah u'mitzvot u'kim u'mishpatim otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu v'shachmeinu v'kumenu nasiach b'chukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam v'ahed. Ki hem chayenu v'yorech yameinu Yorech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla v'avatcha tasimenu l'olamim baruch ata Adonai ohev amo Yisrael Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai 41 together. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta habam v'shivdecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha b'derech uv'shochmecha uv'kumecha uv'kshartam le'od al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beinenecha uchdatam al mezuzot beitecha uv'hisharecha. We continue 42 and forward silently. Adonai Elohechem Emet. 44. Malchuto b'ratzon kiblu aleihem Moshe Miriam u'bnei Yisrael l'chanu b'simcha rabah v'amru laham mi hamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh Nohorati lo tosefele Malchutecha ra'u vanecha bokeyam lifnei Moshe ze'eli hanu v'yamru Adonai yimlo yolaham va'ed v'ne'emar kifada Adonai Yaakov kulam chazak mimenu baruch ata Adonai ga'al Yisrael. On page 45, let's read Hashkivenu in English together. Allow us, Adonai, our God, to sleep peacefully. Awaken us to life, O Sovereign. Spread over us your canopy of peace. Restore us with your good counsel, and save us for the sake of your name. Shield us. Remove from us enemies, pestilence, sword, starvation, and sorrow. Remove the evil forces that surround us. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings. For you, God, watch over us and deliver us. You, God, are sovereign, merciful, and compassionate. Ensure our going and coming for life and peace now and forever. May you spread over us your canopy of peace. Baruch Ata Adonai, who spreads the canopy of peace over us, and for all the people of Israel, and over Jerusalem. Baruch Ata Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'akol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. 46. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat dorotam beritom be'eni u'vem b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'et haaretz uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat. We're getting ready for our silent Amidah, and then we're closing out the service with a few pieces. And before, I was actually going to share a brief teaching before the Amidah tonight. And I'm actually, instead of that, just going to say a quick word. One of the beautiful things about the first page of the Amidah in 47 is that it doesn't start with, O thou God, who art almighty, who art in heaven, who does only good things and all of that. It starts off very personally by basically saying, blessed are you, you're the same God that my ancestors turned to, and I turn to you too. And I think in life's transitions, I think of when I was young, I assumed that the God of my ancestors was a God I couldn't believe in because I felt like they were probably pre-scientific and they were probably old-fashioned, and I couldn't believe in a God that they believed in. And I realized as I got older and got wiser and got to read lots of advanced Jewish texts, I think our ancestors were exactly like we are. And I think that as we age, we really become our parents and we become our grandparents, and that the God that we turn to is exactly the God they turn to, the God that worries about the future of the Jewish people, the God that the one that we connect to when we worry about the future of our country and when we worry about the future of Israel, the one we turn to when we're not sure whether we're parenting correctly or when we feel overwhelmed, the one we turn to when we feel like we may not live up to the example of another generation, or we feel imposter syndrome, that we are not who they were. And I think that the beauty of the being of the Amidah is it makes it personal, and it provides a way to escape that kind of imposter syndrome that's inappropriate. When one stands before God, one needs to shake off the imposter syndrome that we're not like they were, and to say, I'm exactly like they were. and the one I turn to for good counsel, the one I turn to for connection, the one I turn to feel the presence of transcendence in my own life and in nature, the one that guides me toward a way of being with others and being with myself and being the best I can be with the ones I love. It's exactly what the Torah is about. Maybe we can identify with a piece of that as we do our silent prayers tonight. Please rise. Page 46, and then we'll be heading directly into silent introspection. Yehishmera b'mevarav, Yihalam u'lamei mayam. Yiparach, Yishtabach, Yipar v'tromam v'naseh v'tadar v'taleh v'talal, Shmei d'kudesha le'ela mikol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran v'yama v'imeru. 47 through 52 in the language of your choice, or the readings at the sides of the pages, or your own personal meditations. For those who are davening, please continue. The rest of us are standing on page 53. Vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz v'chol tzevaham vayechal Elohim bayom hashvihi melachto asher asa vayishpot bayom hashvihi mikol melachto asher asa. Vayevarech Elohim et Yom Hashvihi, Vayekadesh oto, Kivo Shabbat mikol melachto, Kivo Shabbat mikol melachto, Asher bara Elohim, Asher bara Elohim la'asod. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotzeinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Konei Shamayim v'Aaretz, Magen Avot Bidvaro, Mechaye Meitim v'Ma'amaro, Ha'el HaKadosh she'en kamohu, Hameniach le'am, Yom Shabbat Kodsho, Ivam Ratza Lehaniach Lahem, Ivam Ratza Lehaniach Lahem, Lefanav Na'avod B'yirach Pachad, V'nodeh Lishma B'chol Yom Tamid, Me'on HaBrachot. El HaHodakot Adon HaShalom Mekadesh HaShabbat Umvarech Shevihi Umeniach B'Kedusha V'Amedu Shnei Oneg Zecher L'Maaseh V'Reishit. We may be seated. I invite you to recite with me in English on page 54. Our God and God of our ancestors, embrace our rest. Make us holy through your mitzvot, and let the Torah be our portion. Fill our lives with your goodness, and gladden us with your deliverance. Purify our hearts to serve you truly. Adonai, our God, lovingly and willingly grant that we inherit your holy Shabbat, that the people Israel who make your name holy may find rest on this day. Baruch atah Adonai, who makes Shabbat holy. Yikadav v'yikadash shemei rabbah, v'yamad yivrak yirteh, v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayechon avdemech nevchaytecho bet Yisrael, v'galav izman kari v'imedru, amen, yesh me'rava mevarach, v'alam ulam me'omaya. Yibarach v'yishtabach v'yipar v'yitramam v'naseh v'yitadar v'yitala v'yitala shmeru kudesha le'ela mikver chatav shiratav shishpatav netamata damiram v'yama v'imedru titgavat lo tonavat holdechol Yisrael kodam avohandi v'shmaya v'imedru yesh lamar rabbe min shmaya v'chayim aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imedru oseh shalom b'mromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'yakol Yisrael v'imedru. Amen. It's my honor to invite Gil up at this time to lead Kiddush on page 55. Once again, we rise. And you're welcome to say anything you want if you want to say something.
Vayerev vayivoker yom hashishi, vayichulu hashamayim la'aretz v'chol tzva'am, vayichal Elohim vayom hashvi melachto asher asa, vayishbot vayom hashvi mikol melachto asher asa, vayivarech Elohim et yom hashvi vayikadesh oto, kivo Shabbat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim laso, sabri baruch atah Adonai Elohim melech haolam, borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Elohim melech haolam, asher kishanu mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, V'Shabbat kadsho v'yavav ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maseh bereshit ki hu yom techila l'mikra'ei kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim ki va.
We remain standing for Aleinu on the next page. Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon.
who knows that Shama, who lives in the heavens. Ocean become Russian lights in the mountain. Ushina to so, Ushina to so,
We may be seated except for those who are reciting Mourner's Kaddish. You again are with me on page 58. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'yalma divra pirute v'yamlich malchute v'chayechon yomechon uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ulamei amaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach yipar v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'kodesha le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran v'alma v'imru amen. Yehe shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim alenu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromal. Hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru. Amen. Zirchanam livracha. May their memories continue to bring blessings to this world through you and through in many other ways and through others. Shabbat shalom. I just want to. The only announcements I have are the social action and the green team meetings are happening on Sunday. And even though there's a lot coming up in the future, I'll save that for other announcements. But for now, I just want to wish a mazel tov to the Seinfeld Shop family. And we're really, really looking forward to tomorrow. And may this just be a really special Shabbat for you and for all of your loved ones. I want to make a special blessing or special mazel tov to Michael and Bella. Will you raise your hands because I didn't get a chance to meet you before services. And I want to wish you a very great mazel tov. And also to David and Smadar. And mazel tov and kol hakavod. So we're looking forward to tomorrow and so many wonderful Torah readers and celebrations. And with that, any other announcements before Yigdal? Let's finish it out. Page 62. Yigdal Elohim chai v'yishtabach nimsa ve'en et el metziyuto Echad ben yachid yehiudo nelam v'gam en sof li'achduto en lo dmut haguf ve'eno guf lo na'aroch elav kedushato kadmon lechol davar asher nivra rishon ve'en reshit l'reshito Hino Adon Olam v'chol notzar Yoreh gedulato malchuto Shefa nevuato netano el Anshe segulato v'tifarto Lo kam b'Yisrael v'Moshe od Navi mabi et temunato Torat emet natan li'amoel Ayad neviyon emhan beito Lo yach Khalifa el v'lo yain nirdato לעולמים לזולתו, צופה ויודע סתרנו, מביט לסוף דבר בקדמתו, גומר לאיש חסד כמפעלו, נותן לרשע רע כרשעתו, ישלח לקץ ימין כמשיחנו, לפדות מחכה קץ ישועתו. מתאים מיכאל ברוב חסדו, ברוך אדוני עד שם. Let's finish strong. מתאים מיכאל ברוב חסדו, ברוך אדוני עד שם תהילתו. Shabbat shalom.
Thank you.
No, absolutely.